Welcome to Amplifying Wellness with TLC podcast. This is the place where we're dedicated to your self-care and wellness. We'll be sharing guest stories, information, and tips on how to live healthier and happier lives. We're twin life coaching and business services with your hosts, myself, Barb Shook, and Tara Lehman. We care about increasing awareness around self-care and mental health through this podcast, our coaching, consulting, workshops, and our new communities. To find out more about all of our services and our communities, please visit www.twinlifecoaching.ca. As well, we always like to remind people that this podcast is for sharing of stories and information only and is not intended to be or replace any medical advice that you might be seeking or have received.
All right, today we are joined by Tatiyana, who is a beautiful artist and founder of Quirky Diva Art. Welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me. Thank you.
We're excited. Yeah. So art and self-care is a really interesting topic. Why don't we start by you giving us a bit of your background around art and the importance of self-care?
Okay, well, I've always been doing art my whole life. My mother did it professionally and my father did it as well.
Oh, neat.
So it's been in my genes and I've always enjoyed it. I wanted to do it professionally, primarily after my mother passed, so that I would really follow in her footsteps and honor her in a way. But it also is such a great self-care ritual, I find, for just anybody who would want to enjoy or just learn a new craft or learn how to be creative in a new way. So
I love that.
Yeah. So I'm kind of guessing, I was thinking about asking you why that topic is so important to you, but I think you answered it. It's your family, it's your your lineage and the importance of that your parents did it. Is there are there reasons why it's important to you?
I used to say that it is, well, I still say it. It's kind of my superpower, how I can do my art. I mean, I'm not a brain surgeon. I'm not a fashion designer, but I'm an artist and I can draw and paint. So I feel like that's one of my only superpowers that I really feel like I can control.
I like that it's a superpower because everybody needs to have something, right? And when you have something like that and you label it like that, when it becomes, a self-care thing, it's so positive that it's going to keep you motivated.
Exactly. I feel the same way.
Yeah.
And you mentioned earlier too that the art helps you with your self-care, right? Allows you to be creative or have an outlet. So what do you feel if someone is, trying to use art, maybe it's something brand new for them, to help them with their mental health or their self-care? What do you feel some of those benefits that they can get from that are?
Oh, they could be relaxed. They could have an outlet to be creative, maybe learn something new, maybe be in their own time, reflect and express their emotions through their art. If they're struggling, the way for expression would be very easy with visual arts as well as music, I believe, too.
Yeah, I think a lot of people I think you saw my hand there. A lot of people don't think music is art. And you're right, it's like a different type of art. It's still a way to express yourself in your music, right?
Definitely, definitely.
A lot of creativity. And I think when it comes to people who are stressed or they're trying to find different ways to practice mindfulness, that art, if you're good at it or not, you're amazing at your art. I am not, but does that really matter? We don't have to be good for it to be a benefit, does it?
No, definitely not. As long as it benefits us and our mental health and our self-care, I think that's good enough, honestly. I mean, we're not all made to be Picassos, but if we're proud of what we can make and it really benefits us, then that's good enough.
I like that. I like that if it benefits us, it's for ourselves and our mental health. I mean, there's even people who do the adult coloring.
Yes.
It's another form of, mindfulness or art, something that can take your mind elsewhere. So let me ask you, when you are doing your art, when you're painting or you're drawing or
Yes.
how do you go into like this trance, like the world doesn't exist, the stresses of the day are gone?
Kind of.
Yeah.
Sometimes I turn on some music. I may have a glass of wine or maybe a cup of coffee or some tea. And I definitely feel like it's my time for me and for me to focus on something other than, bills or shopping
Mm-hmm.
lists or whatever. And I feel like I really can, focus on what I'm going to create and
Mm-hmm.
just, focusing on other things than the everyday things, you know.
I
Yeah.
love that. So important. So you've done art your whole life, but have you ever, seen transitions of people who maybe have started with doing art, where it kind of transforms them a little bit from where they were to where they are going, having some sort of life transformation?
Well, I have experience with teaching children, and I do see how
Okay.
they get lost in the creativity process, which is amazing for them, their little minds and their little
Mm-hmm.
beings to get lost in that. And they really enjoy, and sometimes they go off of topic. If I am doing one project for them, they may want to do something else because they get so lost in and carried away with having fun. So that's really nice to see when people really enjoying with their art.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Especially children, I find they can just tune everything out and draw or color or paint. Where adults, we tend to have
Yes.
to focus on that first, right? It's a little bit different, I think, for adults when they're doing their mindfulness or their self-care type of activities like coloring or painting or drawing.
Yeah.
I think so. Sometimes we worry about maybe making it too perfect, which it doesn't have to be.
Yeah.
I think
Yeah.
it's better to do it than just have it done perfectly, because if you worry about having it done perfectly, you will never get it done in a way.
And
Yeah.
you're worrying. So you lose your self-care aspect because you're worrying, right? You're not able
And
to
you're not
relax.
focused. You're not focused
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I love that you mentioned the whole perfect thing. I like to say to people that the word perfect shouldn't be in the dictionary, because perfect really doesn't exist, because we can always
No.
improve, or and so when it comes to art, I love that you brought up that it doesn't need to be perfect, because like I said, I can't paint and draw or anything, but that doesn't mean I don't doodle
Of
and,
course. Yes.
right? Yeah, put my
I
mind
agree.
elsewhere.
I agree. You should keep on that doodling
Yeah.
thing. It'll be good for you. You never know what it'll grow into.
And even if it just gets my mind off the day, right?
Of
Exactly.
course, definitely, definitely.
Yeah, yeah. So, do you have any favorite things that you like to paint that really bring your mind from, say, the craziness of the day to something very calming?
What I like to paint is what makes me happy, what I feel like is beautiful. So I love florals. I
Hmm.
love animals. I love abstracts. I love color. So I always indulge in a lot of color in my artwork. And, I love a lot of a sense of quirky. That's what we're called, Quirky Diva Art.
Hmm.
So, I really paint what I love. And I think that's when the art really comes to life, is when you paint what you like or love. Because if you paint something that you don't like, well, you're not going to like your art. You're not going to like the piece that comes out of it.
Hmm.
And you're not going to feel proud. I can't paint snakes because I
Right.
don't like snakes very much. Mind you, they can become very beautiful pieces of art, mind you,
Hmm.
sometimes.
Yes. Yeah. So let me ask you, I want to go back to the kids, and you said that you help kids with art.
Yep.
So how do you see that maybe adults are different from the children when it comes to being creative?
I think, as we said earlier, adults always worry, do I need to do it perfectly? Or do I need to have this kind of skill or that kind of talent? They automatically think that they can do it, and it comes naturally for them, I feel.
Hmm.
they feel more liberated to do the art. Where as adults, we want to do it in a certain way or whatever. And it kind of blurs our vision of what we want to accomplish sometimes in the art. Where the children are like, I want to draw a house and trees of my house with my family. But they just see it in a very, how do I describe it? In a very clear cut way, very liberated, as I said. So the way that they see things are very different than what we see sometimes.
Yeah. I think too, kids are still in a very innocent stage of life. So there isn't that societal pressure. They draw a stick house and they're so proud of themselves and they go and show their mommy and their daddy and everyone's really, really proud. But as an adult, there's that expectation that your house has drawn on shingles and, drawn on windows and, it's not the same. The kids, there's no expectation from anybody on children when they're drawing. And so they can just draw what they feel. But I think a lot of times as adults, if we did that and we drew a stick house, we would probably hide it because we'd be afraid of people seeing it. Right. So I think.
Exactly.
Yeah. And I think
you said it perfectly. You said it so perfectly. Right.
We have to be more willing to share our things and not be unproud, I guess, would be kind of like, we should be proud of what we do regardless.
Sometimes I find that, as humans, we can be very critical of each other and of ourselves, which bogs our focus sometimes. Yes. But the children, they're not critical yet. Hopefully they're not. And they see it more, innocently, as you said, which is a lot lighter for them. I wish we were all like children more.
Yeah. And I like that, art in any form that anybody does, any kind of art really allows our creativity to come out and our flow to come out. Regardless if it's the stick house we don't want to show anybody, it's still our creativity. It's still our excitement around what we can create. And I think that is really, really important as well. What do you guys think?
Oh, definitely. I think so.
I agree, for sure.
Yeah. So is there any other tips that you can give to our listeners who may be thinking about doing art as something new to help with their self-care? Any simple tips to get started?
Start small. If you want to just watch videos and practice in private and, not use the most expensive art supplies, start small and then work your way up for your pure artistic enjoyment and focus on yourself and your art while you're doing it. Like, clear your mind, be relaxed when you're doing it. And then after a while, you can join an art group or a class and then make it a part of your self-care routine so that you could really depend on it as a piece of your, enjoyment during that one part of the weekend that you may have to yourself.
And I love that word, enjoyment. I love it. It's just making me want to just go do something now artistically because it's something that we can enjoy and it not be like the day-to-day grind, right?
Of course. We're so way down with so many bills and the way of the world is not easy these days. So it's, if we can just do finger painting even, that would just bring us maybe joy, get us away from all the bad news in the world.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Find our inner child.
Yeah. Well, that was a lot of
our inner child. It's hiding in all of us.
Yeah, it totally is. And art can certainly bring that out. That's for sure.
Yes, definitely.
So you paint and you teach children and you sell your art. So if somebody was looking to reach out to you to find out more information about the art that you're selling or what you do or some more self-care tips, how could they reach you? What are some of the ways they can reach you?
They can reach me through my Instagram. They could send me a message through Instagram at Quirky Diva Art, or they could contact you and they could let me know through you if they were interested in anything, or in any coloring sheets, or in any prints, or anything, greeting cards that they may want to purchase.
All right.
Or if any advice or anything.
Yeah.
I think advice is great from somebody who's a true artist. When someone wants to start that, it's always great to have that conversation with that person.
And so anybody who is listening that wants more information and is not on Instagram, feel free to reach out to us at info@twinlifecoaching.ca, and we'll pass on the questions or the information to Tatiyana. Again, her Instagram handle is at Quirky Diva Art. All right. Well, thank you so much for the conversation today, Tatiyana.
Thank you so much for having me. This was wonderful. I hope I can do a painting session with you ladies one day soon.
Oh, we would love that. Also, we want to thank all of you listeners for joining us today and learning more about art and self-care. We can't wait to bring you more to amplifying your wellness with us and our guests, from sharing stories to tips and information like today. As a reminder, our new Amplifying Your Wellness community is a great place to find support for everything you need, including discounts, resources, workshops, and more. To find out more about all of our services, please visit us at twinlifecoaching.ca. Until next time, remember, you've got this.